I recently came across a post of a person asking if 15 minutes a day was enough to learn Russian. And all the comments below were about people saying, no, 15 minutes is not enough, or you need to spend years in order to get to a decent point. But I've got a different perspective on this. And I think that 15 minutes as a goal of learning Russian each day is enough to to speak Russian well. So let me explain. In this video, I want to share with you what happens if you spend 15 minutes a day as a goal learning Russian, the psychology behind why this works for almost everyone, and what exactly you should be doing during those 15 minutes that you're learning. All right, so let's get started. First, I want to share with you what happens if you learn Russian for 15 minutes a day. And I'm going to share a short story. When I was learning Russian in the beginning, it was in 2017. And I had as my goals for learning Russian, as my New Year's resolutions, that I wanted to become, C1 in Russian or so by the end of the year. So I set up an elaborate plan of spending X amount on series, books, lessons, everything together, which was probably going to take me about 1.5 to 2 hours each day. So I started with a lot of motivation and hope. The 1st of January, did it, then next day as well. And so how long do you think that I followed my elaborate plan in order to become really fluent in Russian by the end of the year? Well, if you guessed a couple of days, then that's the correct answer, because after a couple of days, I found that my motivation to learn Russian was just going away, and I wasn't enjoying it that much. And I was waking up in the morning and I had a full day of work. And then I knew that I would need to spend 1.5 or 2 hours of learning Russian after work as well. And I just got very overwhelmed. And I ended up not really practicing at all. So then I decided to go back to what I was doing before with a little bit of modification to my plan. And I was like, all right, so if I put like super high standards of what I'm going to do each day, I'm going to be perfectionistic and overwhelmed, and it's not working. What if I put lower standards and then enjoy the process? So then I was like, I'm just going to focus on level as a minimum standard, 15 minutes a day. And that's success for me. That's okay. So the first week or two or so, 50 minutes I was like, yeah, that was all I did. But then I found that, hey, I'm already doing this. And I found myself just like practicing more and more. And after a month or so, I was doing easily like half an hour on average. Some days still 15, some days a bit more. After 2 months, I was just spending more than 1 hour on average. And this just kept on growing. So the point here is, if you want to focus first on enjoying consistently learning Russian, and then let the volume come later. So that's why the funny thing is, when I had as a goal to be practicing 1 or 2 hours a day, I managed on average to only do 15 minutes. But once I had a goal to be practicing just for 15 minutes, this crept up more. So now I want to explain the reason why this works. And this is something that I learned from James Clear when I read his book, Atomic Habits, I think when it just came out, 2017 or 2018. And I might be paraphrasing this a little bit differently than he said. But he wanted to work out more, and he wasn't working out as much as he wanted to. So what he did instead, so most people would say, all right, I'm going to go to the gym for an hour a day and just keep on doing that. But he didn't do that because he tried that in the past and it didn't work. So he said, I just want to do 1 push-up every single day. And that's my minimum goal. And he found out that after doing this for a couple of weeks of just 1, he was really getting into the habit of doing it. And then he noticed that he started, one day, he's like, why not do 5 push-ups? And he did 5. And he found that by the end of the year, he was, first of all, he achieved the goals that he wanted. He got bigger. He was able to do lots of push-ups. And he was also going more often to the gym because he's like, I did a push-up, might as well go to the gym. But the main thing that happened was that his identity shifted from someone who was not working out to someone who was working out. It would start to feel weird for him if he would not be working out. And this is similar to what happened to me when I started practicing like this every day. Like, the consistency was I was so consistent that if there would be a day when I would not have practiced Russian, I would start to feel weird, because I'm like, I am a person who learns Russian. This is something that I do. It's gotten part of my identity. So it just made it unconsciously so easy to be practicing each day. And this is similar to, you probably brush your teeth every day. And if you don't brush your teeth, it's weird, right? That's because you've been doing this from childhood. And it's just something that's so ingrained. You are a person that brushes your teeth, I hope. At least I do. So You want to get to the point where doing this so consistently that your identity changes from someone who is interested in Russian to someone who is learning Russian each day. So that's the psychology of how this works. All right, so now the third thing, and that is what should you be doing during those 50 minutes that you're practicing as your goal time. Now, there are two criteria here that you want to be focusing on. The first one is you want to make sure that the thing you're practicing is in your control. What I mean by that is apps, books, courses, series, listening to music, anything that's within your control. If you say that, my main practice is speaking to a Russian-speaking friend, then it's going to be very difficult to be like on a whim, like, it's 9 o'clock at night. You're like, I haven't practiced today. You cannot be like, go join your friend and start speaking to him because you might be busy. Whereas if you have something like a lesson or a book that you're learning, then you might as well you pick up the book or listen to the lesson, and boom, you can easily do it. There's no friction involved, so it becomes easy to do it every day. So the second thing that you want to be focusing on is that the thing you are practicing is actually useful for the goal that you have. Now, what do I mean by this? It's quite simple. Like, if your goal is to be reading Russian literature, then it makes sense to be getting like a dual language book of Master and Margarita that you can learn every single day. So your goal, the thing you're doing works exactly for the main goal that you have in terms of learning Russian. If you struggle with understanding what native Russian speakers say when you're having a conversation, then watch Russian series every day so you hear spoken Russian. If your goal is to become conversational in Russian and you want to be able to say coherent sentences, then you could, for example, follow my program, Russian Conversations Unlocked, that teaches you this specific skill of forming coherent sentences. So the thing is, find something that has no friction for you to do, something you can easily do each day, and something that follows your goals. All right. Спасибо вам огромное за просмотр. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a comment below saying what you think of this strategy and what you think of it. Пока-пока.